forward about the insecurity happening in Nigeria.
We're excited, not because of what is going on in Nigeria, but because you are coming in, so we can come together to find a way forward. So we are excited to have you. Again, this is an icon room. An icon is International Committee on Nigeria. And we advocate for the right to live, the right to religious freedom, and the protection of the vulnerable against all forms of persecution in Nigeria. We work in Nigeria and the US, and we're a multi-stakeholder non-profit organization that work to secure the future for all Nigerians. So welcome everybody, welcome to this space. We welcome you. Thank you for joining in. MK is right here with me. MK will be co-moderating with me, and usually it fills my heart with so much joy because he's one passionate person about the happenings in Nigeria and all. So yes, welcome everybody. So good to have you all. Our guest speakers are here already today, and it is exciting. As you all know, if you don't know, I will tell you, we've been talking on ethnicity and religion as drivers of insecurity here in Nigeria. So we hope that today we will come to that climate of what it really means. Because the first week we had Archbishop Benjamin Kwashi speak to us, engage us, answer questions, and told us about what he has been doing, which is a practical aspect of helping the vulnerable in our communities. And then last week we had Sheikh Nuru Khalid come in and also speak with us and engage with us about these issues and how he's using social media to reach to people and challenge them. And people are not just listening, but are doing something. It's really exciting to have the two of you on here again, SARS, to continue with this conversation. So welcome. Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining in. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bishop, and thank you, Sheikh. It is our pleasure to have you address us again after earlier two engagements. It was something of pleasant memory to hear something different, something positive, something cooperative, something collaborative, something that seeks to mark out the path from the more adversarial, hostile, and conflictual engagement that we see all around to the thought that people have a sense of moral goodness, a sense irrespective of their spirituality and their understanding of their spirituality, the sense that perspective of faith, look at things from the path of all pursuing the same goal, the same objective, the pursuit of good and the dignity of the human person. From that perspective, makes us united, even though we seem to have different source, our understanding of the different sources of how to reach out to that goodness is. We all seem to sort of want to do good. And so that's what unites us. And perhaps that's the foundation upon which we thought that a further session of bringing the Sheikh and the Bishop together to begin to engage from that perspective of looking at the material good and the moral good of the Nigerian society, even though we may have a different understanding of the source of good. That's what unites us, and so that's why we're here today again, and hopefully our audience will be blessed by your contributions today, and of course learn from it, and probably like myself and Ben had been discussing, today we will attempt as much as possible to recap what you had said earlier in the two previous meetings, just give us a general recap, and then we'll go down to the business of looking for more concrete ways of working together as ethnicities and as religions to promote good, to remove the lines of divide and adversarial engagements, and see how we can practically move our people to a new understanding of what good is. So you're all welcome, and thank you for affording us an opportunity to listen and hear and take from the wells of your wisdom. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, MK, for that. So again, this is an ICON room. ICON is International Committee on Nigeria. We advocate for the right to live, the right to religious freedom, and the protection of the vulnerable against all forms of persecution in Nigeria. Before we go ahead to hand over the mics to our two amicable, important, respectful guests, I want to read their bios in brief. It's a very brief bios. A lot of you have heard me read about them if you've been part of us for the first 2 weeks, but this is for the benefit of people who are just joining us for the first time. So I will start with Sheikh. Sheikh Mohammed Nuru Khalid was born on the 1st of October, 1960 in Jos, Plateau State, Nigeria. He's a Nigerian Islamic cleric, Chief Imam of Akko Legislative Quarters, Jamaat Mosque in Federal Capital Territory, Nigeria. He was the founder of Islamic Research and Dawah Foundation, IRDF, and a leader of FCT Imam Delegation, an outspoken Islamic preacher and human rights activist who is always condemning the atrocities happening in the society. Want to know about him? I'm telling you, just go to Facebook and search his name and you see the tremendous work that he has been doing. Sheikh Mohammed Nuru Khalid is a family man, married to 4 wives with 28 children and 5 grandchildren. We are excited to have you join us, sir.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. I will quickly go ahead and read the bio of Archbishop Benjamin Kwashi in brief, as I said. So Archbishop Benjamin Kwashi is the Bishop of Anglican Diocese of Jos, Nigeria, and the General Secretary of Global Anglican Future Conference, CAFCON. He is well known as an evangelist and a champion of religious freedom throughout Nigeria, Africa, England, and the United States. Happily married to Gloria, and they have 6 children. But I must say that they have almost 100 orphans living with them. What a way to open their hearts and home to the vulnerable in our society. See, I told you people, these 2 respectful people are renowned for the activism they do to curb what is going on in our society and to call out the ills that are happening. So again, I welcome you, sirs. Welcome, Archbishop Benjamin Kwashi.
Thank you.
And welcome again, Sheikh Nuru Khalid. So we'll just go right into it without further ado. Before I go, I want you people, everyone in the room, to know that this particular discussion is being recorded and broadcasted on our social media platforms. We have our YouTube channel, which is icon/PSJ Media on YouTube, and then we have Icon Help on Facebook, and on Twitter, it is Icon Help 1, and also on Instagram. So you know, it is broadcasted as live. Okay, thank you so much. Now I will hand over the mic to Archbishop Benjamin Kwashi. Sir, if you could give us a recap of the discussion you had with us, and then recommendations on the way forward concerning insecurity, ethnicity, and religion being used as tools, as instruments, as drivers of what is going on in our society. Sir, you can take up to 10 minutes if you want, and then we'll hand over to Sheikh Khalid. Go ahead, sir. I would mute my mic for you, but it is a delight and an honor to have you here.
Thank you very much, Yop. And thank God that you have brought a wonderful gentleman, a scholar of Islam, a bold, courageous man, a man who knows what is right and what is good for humanity, a man I have deep respects for. We've never been close together, but we know about each other. And generally, we Josites, we come out good. Anything from Jos will always come out bold, good, and sustainable. And Sheikh Nuru has been a pride to us from Jos in this country. His courage and his truthfulness is something to be admired by anybody. When I spoke the last time, I gave the positive outcomes of ethnicity and religion. I also gave the reason why the downturn happened, that ethnicity and religion began to become a tool of division. I was able to convince you that previous to now, in the 80s, when there was disagreements, it was with sticks and sometimes knives and clubs. And maybe in a huge fight of a village or a town, even in Zaria in my time, only maybe about 1 or 2 people would have been dead. A majority would be injuries. But I was able to prove to you that the government, succeeding governments, have successfully failed, if there is anything like that. They have ignored the security of lives and property. They have allowed criminality to come into religion. And they have turned it into politics. And they've allowed it to destroy the poor man, the common people. Occasionally it does touch the people in power, but they don't care. I've also proved to you that if they cared, they would not allow this thing to happen, because a majority of the people in the IDP camps and those that have died are ordinary poor Nigerians, Christians and Muslims who will never see ₦1 million. But the government, people in government, in political power, both military and civilian, have never cared for the ordinary people. And I've told you, there is no evil bigger than that. People who are already oppressed, people who don't have anything, and yet you allow them to be killed on a daily basis, and you go and sit down and drink tea and eat your dinner and go to sleep. There's no evil greater than that. And I said the solution is very simple. If government takes very seriously the fear of God to protect the poor in our society, nobody's going to come from Mali, Chad, or Cameroon and just kill people and you go to sleep. If government takes sincerely the punishment of criminals, put them to justice, killings will reduce. It may not be able to eradicate it all, but people know that when they do crime, justice will come upon their heads. But in all of these, our governments, even the government of today, has failed woefully. So people come from Cameroon, commit a crime, and go scot-free. Of course, people have come from Mali. That's what we were told. People have come from Chad. People have come from everywhere else. They come and kill and go scot-free. Kidnappers are on the increase. In fact, there are people who were interviewed, some of the interviews we see from the police, that they sold their cows to buy guns in order to do abduction. So governments don't care. Now, how do we solve this? We begin by bringing this discussion to the doorstep of our governments. To say, look, if you agree to arrest criminals who commit certain crimes, arrest them, regardless of where they come from, regardless of their religion, regardless of how much they want to tout their ethnicity. It is a crime across board. And when justice is served, and justice is blind, when justice is served, we begin to see a downturn of all of this criminality that is coming in the name of ethnicity or in the name of religion. It is my belief that if we are able to hold government accountable to every single life that is killed and every blood shed, then I believe we'll begin to correct these ills. But if we don't do it, these criminals are having a field day because some of the politicians even are helping them. from what we see, the photographs we see. The politicians go and take photographs with bandits. Religious leaders go and take photographs with bandits. So the bandits are feeling emboldened and they don't care because they will tell you to your face, government will do nothing. Nobody can do anything. Nobody can save you. And at that point, you're not dealing with people of religion because they don't even know God. If they know God, they wouldn't do what they're doing. But they say clearly, and truly, we're at the mercy right now of criminals. So I will end by emphasizing that we need to hold governments accountable. We need to also hold international governments accountable because they are watching all these things happen, just like the way they watched it happen in Rwanda and elsewhere in Africa, and they don't care. Right now, we're seeing the issues between Ethiopia and Tigray. And what are they doing? What are international communities doing? Again, all bothering within the same lines: ethnicity, religion, and politics. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Before we comment or say anything, I will hand over to the Sheikh. Sheikh Mohammed Khalid, please, your recap about last week and your recommendation.
Thank you, Ben. And I must thank the Bishop Benjamin for what he did and for what he said about me. Thank you very much. I don't think I'm capable to be described like that, but you did well in challenging me to be more than that. Thank you very much. I spoke about enough. We had enough of killings and vices in the name of religion, and we have to stop that and change the narratives. I also based on my discussion on the importance of respect. We have to start respecting one another, respect for human beings, respect for our core values, and we have to be careful in letting the norms of lack of respect to dominate our society, because it's now becoming a norm. It's now dominating our society, that we don't respect ourselves, we don't respect human beings, we don't respect even the core values that we're supposed to be respecting. And I have spoken about the common good, that yes, we must make sure that we understand what is common good and why we must jointly look for that common good. If we look at the government, is now more is no more helping us in pursuing common goods. And I also urge us to work together as Muslims and Christians, as Hausa, Fulani, Igbos, and whatever. Let's remember that we are all humans before we become whatever. Whether a Muslim, whether a Christian, whether Birom or Hausa or Fulani or Yoruba, we are human beings. And I gave an example of our blood groups. And I also urge us to look at the way that is possible for us to change the narratives, because the narratives is very bad. We can't continue like this. And I have even given an example of how the genocide of Rwanda was possible. It was possible because they have done what we are now doing now, using the media to campaign against one another instead of using the media to promote togetherness and to promote respect and shared values. They started that way, and they end up in the bad historical genocide that now it has become a very bad history of humanity. That is what I said. And lastly, I've called on the government to do the right thing, and all of us, we must do the right thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sheikh. Thank you so much, Archbishop. This has been great, and we are all hearing. If you have questions, I want to come here and say, if you have questions or you have comments that you want to engage them with, please raise your hands up and we'll bring you up to the stage to ask your questions or to engage them. And if you do not want to come up, you can send me a back channel. Again, I want to tell you, everyone here, that this program is being recorded and broadcasted on our social media platforms. On YouTube, icon/PSJ Media. On Facebook, Icon Help. On Twitter, Icon Help 1. And on Instagram, Icon Help 1. So you know. So if you want to, you can go ahead. And also, the replay button is on for this particular program. So you can also watch it on the Clubhouse afterwards. Thank you so much again, sirs. And I'll give it to MK to engage a little bit, and then we'll move on from there. MK, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Van, and thank you, Bishop. Thank you, Sheikh. I think, again, let's put this in proper context as we engage. The thinking is clear. It is from what we look, the issue is that we tried to make clarity between ethnicism, which is negative use of identity, and an ethnicity, which is a neutral expression of identity. So we need to be clear about that. Our conception, at least our working conception here, is that we are totally against ethnicism, which is a negative, all the negative or evil, if you like, or bad use of our identity, whatsoever that identity is, whether it is an ethnic identity, whether it's a color identity, or whatsoever. The negative, bad, or evil deployment of ethnicity is, which we call ethnicism, is one thing that we must bear in mind. And of course, on the side of religion, we are also very clear, and that was established in the 2 sessions, where we think of religious dogmatism as against the sense of religious spirituality, where we are able to connect with goodness versus manipulations and indoctrinations that do not have life in them. They do not give us any sense of goodness, or rather they generate either an evil essence rather than a good essence. So essentially, we are in discussion about two things, one good and the other evil, and how these evil are containerized, or how these good are containerized in our sense of ethnicism or ethnicity, and our dogmatism and spirituality when it comes to religion. And of course, how that also is used by politics and governance to promote or advance evil or good. It is important that this clarities be made so that we can have a clear sense of why we must, as people who share a sense of good essence, can work together across divides, identity and religious divides, to promote good and to wage a shared war against evil. I think that's what we are here about, and that is what we stand for, and that is what our 2 guest speakers symbolize. They are stars in the galaxy pursuing good, and our commitment is to bring all people of goodwill, all people of virtue, all people of pure essence to come together across their ethnicities and all that. On the political landscape, we discussed how we can effectively deal with the issues of our diversity and plurality in religion. And we got the sense when we talked with Sheikh and Bishop, the sense that we need to begin to look at the frameworks that around which we govern ourselves, that allows for respect and we talked of federalism, true federalism, and all of that, where people can create political spaces where they can pursue and protect and defend their identity while pursuing the general good of their citizens at the larger level and at the lower level within our nation. Those are the solutions, and those are the, if you like, the models that we discussed, and our guest spoke extensively on that. So perhaps I would then allow them to make further comments on that, the type of political configuration that we need and how we can work together as a people to create that configuration. Because I mean, if we look at the context, it is the fear, it is those are the stools that are creating conflict. People want their identity, people want their religious space, their differences to be respected, and that's what Sheikh Khalid had sort of mentioned. That desire to respect people's identity spaces, and then of course recognize that all of us have a dignity of human persons in us as we engage. And so the moment we share that sense of dignity in the human person, it is easier for us to then say, okay, this person is a human being like me, and then we can then respect his differences, which in fact is actually the kaleidoscope that spice life. If everybody is the same, there'll be monotony and there'll be no excitement in life. But the diversities sort of freak our souls and make us excited, give us those aesthetics that makes us very excited and pleasurable as we see each person come with something distinct that is outside of us, and we see that human beings are very diverse. So I yield the floor for them to make comments while we wait for people who want to come up to also make comments on sort of the type of political, if you like, configurations, maybe deepen the sense of the political configurations that can give us sense. So to give it more clarity, SARS, how can we strengthen the type of political configuration? Because those are the things that are being blurred and people are quarreling about, or are using, not quarreling about, they're actually using to fight. Some persons think that when some persons who think of a monarchical system come on board, they want a strong center and everybody to fall in line. And when the other people who think that they are more Republican and they want a more dispersed center of power, they try to do that, and that conflict has not helped us at the center. How can we, using the instrument of politics and law, strengthen that position so that within that frame of work, people can secure themselves, people can promote their economy, they can also promote their culture and their religion in effective ways. I yield the floor to Muhammad Khalid.
Okay, thank you very much. If I am right, I think our problem in Nigeria is not the system of political that we are using, but we as people don't understand how to use it. What I mean by this is we allow politicians to manipulate our ethnic groups, our identity, and our religion. They don't allow us, or we don't allow ourselves to think about competency. We don't discuss issues when it comes to politics. We don't discuss competency. We don't discuss honesty. We don't even look at our own problems. What do we really need from the government? What are the duties of elected officers? What are we expecting them to do for us? But instead, we start discussing that, yes, this candidate is a Muslim, therefore he must be in the office because by being there, Islam is now winning the country. Or Christians will say, this is a Christian, he must be there because by so doing, the church is going to rule the country. Or if a Hausa person is there, or a northerner is there, or a southerner, or whatever, we have to start thinking positively by knowing that politics is supposed to be a way of reforming a society, a way of uniting the citizens, a way of sharing dividends of democracy, not collecting money from the politicians, not selling the cards, the votes, but by seeing development in your locality, by promoting unity among the people, by improving economy, by improving education sector, by improving healthcare services. That is what we're supposed to do when we come together and agree that yes, Nigeria is our country, and we are the ones to promote its unity. We are the one to develop the country. We are the one to take it forward. We need to do something about how we vote. Why will we vote for this candidate, not for that candidate? That is the problem, not the system of politics. If you look at America, the system of politics that we are using, presidential system, is the one they are using, but they have no problem. And during the first republic, we use the other way, but look at we today. So I think it is not a matter of the kind of political system or the political party we're supposed to have, or the manifestos of the political party, but we must be cautious about how we handle the politics. Our politics is our problem. We that are doing it that way, that is our problem. But if we can use it the other way around, it will help us in building our nation. So the way out is to have awareness campaign that will tell Nigerians that, look, it is not a matter of your tribal person being in the office, but it is a matter of having a competent person that will deliver. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I get a very interesting sense there that, and perhaps we need to highlight that. Perhaps we probably will interrogate it further, but we need to highlight it, that the problem is not essentially with the system, whether the system, but the use of the system, the conscience, the philosophy, the thoughts, and the actions of the individual, particularly we the citizens and the government, in the way we apply that. It is, we are, rather than focus on, like the Sheikh says, rather than focus on good governance, competence in the use of the system, we use the system as rivalry and competitiveness and promotion of our ethnic superiority, religious superiority, and subjugation of any other person, and lose the real essence of actually our spirituality, which is to promote good and good of all humanity. Of course, the service to God is the service to the good of all humanity. The moment the service to God is no more the service to all of humanity, but an attempt to pursue or promote cleavages, differences, diversity, superiority, then of course we've lost the spirituality of what our various ethnicities and religious values ought to inspire to us. I mean, I want to within that same context, see what Bishop Kwashi would want to, add to that, or sort of expatiate or perhaps interrogate. Thank you.
Oh no, I agree with Sheikh Khalid on his presentation, and we need to expand on that. But I'd like to take on the practicalities of how can we solve the present predicaments befalling and before the people of Nigeria. And I'd like to use two main examples. The first one is just look at the political elite and see what they do. Number one, they invest in the education of their children. In fact, none of their children is going to school in Nigeria. They go to America, they go to England, they go everywhere else but Nigeria. My point, number one, being that the political elite know that the succession of their business and of the succession of their legacy as politicians has to do with good education. And every family, every community that is thinking of the next generation and generation after that will always think of education. The moment any government is not thinking of education, that government is predictably an evil government to its own people. Whoever it is in Nigeria that scraped the teachers' colleges in Nigeria is the most evil man I have ever known on earth. Because the teachers' colleges provided that educational platform that reached out to the grassroots of Nigeria, especially I can speak for Northern Nigeria. There was Teachers College Toro. There was Teachers College St. Peter's Kaduna. There was Teachers College everywhere. And teachers were posted to villages and they were happy to go and teach villagers who had no knowledge of a huge capital A. If you put it like a house, they don't know what it is. But these are the people who invested their lives in building the Nigeria we have today. Many of these leaders we call political leaders would never have been educated but for teachers' colleges and teachers who went through there. But teachers' colleges have been scrapped. You see, I am a product of those kinds of times when, for example, I finished my primary school in St. Luke's Primary School, Jos. This was a mission school. In my class were people like the Sarking Arab of Jos today, Alaji Alasan, Ali Umaru. I grew up to see, we would go for academicals football, and then we would see some of our seniors at that time, Samai Lamabo, Sule Kekere. Those are the people we knew. School has this capacity of building its own community from one class to senior class to other class. But all of these are gone. Education now in the villages is as terrible as anything you can think of. There is not a single government school now anywhere in northern Nigeria that you can send a normal child to go and find education. They will go there and they'll find nothing. So if we want to build our nation, I will urge communities to begin to invest in education. Right now, the contest is between private schools and public schools. And private schools have no room for the poor. So the dichotomy is also on the increase. And they look, the poor ones are looking at these ones come from certain religion, they have good school, we don't have this. So we're already sowing the seed of discord right in the children in Nigeria right now. That gap needs to be closed as soon as possible. And if any government is thinking of the future of Nigeria, here is the secret. Build schools, get teachers who will go to villages to give them good education, how to read, how to write, how to speak in English, how to speak in French, and they already know their dialects and they can interpret all of that. They know their languages, they can do that. But the commercial language in Nigeria, in Africa, and in the world is English. So we need to teach our children right at that level, primary, before they go to secondary. And I'm one of those fortunate children also who went to military school. And in the military school, it was an army school in Zaria. We had Christians, we had Muslims, we had the whole of Nigeria all in one class. As a matter of fact, last year we celebrated our 50th year. It was not only until last year we began to know that this one came from Borno, this one came from Jigawa, This one came from Delta. Now we are old, we have children and grandchildren. That's when we began to know, but we never knew that for over 50 years of Nigeria, as far as we were concerned, we were trained to be soldiers, to serve Nigeria, to die for Nigeria, to protect Nigeria, and to protect its citizens. That was our training. So if we are going to invest to solve this problem, education plays a vital, a key, and important role at initial, beginning with children. But secondly, I will urge that in our interactions, let us not play down the role of sports. Sports can be entertainment. Sports has now become a business. But sports builds up communities, healthy rivalries, the ability for you to know that when a referee blows a whistle, he has the final say. That discipline that goes with sports for you to respect the law and order of a game is a big issue in societal building. A lot of the reasons why our politicians in Africa, just check, most of them who want all these posts, who overruled themselves, who disobeyed the laws and orders that they make themselves, they are not sports people. And that is why in England, they will tell you this is not cricket. You must play by the rules. So sports has a way of building into people and inculcate in them the ability and the willingness to play by the rules and to play by the rules of the game. But thirdly is economy. When we were growing up, Kaduna was the main hub of all economy in central region of Nigeria and indeed in the north. Kano topped it all. But these things gave young people the opportunities to the extent that in my generation, nobody looked for a job. As soon as you finish secondary school, from anywhere, you got a job. You got a bicycle allowance. You got a house allowance provided for you by the company that employs you. It doesn't matter whether it's textile or DIC or Coca-Cola or any other company. These companies are all gone. And these young men are looking for how to use their energy. And some politician employs them. And he tells them to go and burn down this house, he will stand for them. They use their energy to do that, and truly the politician stands for them, and they escape. Criminality continues. Now it is even worse. Nigeria used to be just a courier nation of drugs. Now it is a consumer. And there is not a state in this country now where drugs is not an issue. And here we give credit to General Buba Marwa, who is head on and he has stood his grounds, is going to deal with these issues, and they're looking for the supplies because these people, they're hidden, they're faceless, they're very wealthy. They import these drugs, give it to these young people, ruin their future, ask them to go and kill, we will set you free, and that is what is going on now. Youth now have no future. So our government must look into these issues, but our religious institutions must also participate in this. We must begin now to think positively of how we can establish schools where the children of the poor can just come, not that they can afford it. Let them come. We must employ people and invest the resources of the church and of the mosque to pay teachers to teach children for free. We don't know whom God will use amongst these children. These street kids must be out of the streets. Almajiris must be out of the Almajiris. We must provide food for them. We must provide shelter. We must provide care for them. Because if the government doesn't care, we as religious institutions cannot not care. We cannot ignore those whom government has chosen to ignore. We cannot forget those whom the world in its wickedness has chosen to ignore. We must show love, and the essence of our religion requires that not only do we preach it, but we must live it. So these are the three areas, I think, in addition to what Sheikh Khalid has said, we will look to, we will get to doing.
Thank you so much. We have two people who have come in to either make comments or to ask questions. We don't know exactly. The floor is open for people to come up and make comments, to ask questions. You can come up and do that, or you can send a back channel to us, and we would read out if you don't want to come up. So we will give space, but Bishop, just to recap what the Bishop have said, the bishop talked about education, and he talked actually about the education philosophy, more than even the education, because we can miseducate our people, because education is generally happening everywhere, every day as you go, and some of the actions that are happening are an outcome of miseducation. When you educate people about, instead of educating them to serve God and humanity, you educate them to serve dogmatism and religion and competition and rivalry, then we have a problem. And Bishop builds that into the sense that sports is a way of putting education into perspective. If you are playing football and perhaps you are a Muslim and a Christian team playing football, and the idea of recognizing the rule of law, that the whistle of the referee or the flagging of the linesman about the rules puts you into the mindset of obeying law. Muslims and Christians, ethnic groups, and so on can play football and play football in the sense of lawful, healthy rivalry and inculcates the good spirit. He also pointed out the issue about the economy, that people must be engaged. The moment they are not economically engaged, then we have these challenges of being manipulated more easily, because people are looking for hunger, and then patronage and rent seeking and all this miseducation that politicians do in order to win elections and continue to sustain their hold over us, continue. Those are the things that he had pointed out, amongst other things that we need to put in mind. I am hoping that we would take this forward into concrete action as we move on. We are building up to the potentials of initiating, even in our own little way, amongst Christians, amongst Muslims, those type of programs that will allow us exemplify, model this type of behavior. And that is why the bishop has called on the Muslims and the Christian communities to look together. I'd like to look for more practical ways to say, okay, can we just begin to say symbolically, can the bishop and the Sheikh come together and lead us to set up one school, for instance, that we want to model this type of curricula that says Christians and Muslims are in this school. This is the value we preach. This is the character that we intend to mold, and let Nigerians come and support us in terms of funding this type of school so that this can happen. Those are perhaps more practical things that we will place before us, and see how we can move beyond just highlighting this issue, but modeling the behavior, given the iconic conditions that these great men that are speaking these values are. I want to yield the floor to NSA to sort of ask his questions or make his comment. He came up for that. Thank you, NSA. And then, of course, Eswea will follow. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, NSA, please hold on. Sorry about that. Just to quickly jump in, because I'm seeing new people come in. Welcome, welcome. Again, this is an ICON room. ICON is International Committee on Nigeria. And from the discussion, you can hear that we're about advocacy, advocating for the right to live, the right to religious freedom, and the protection of the vulnerable against all forms of persecution in Nigeria. This particular discussion is being recorded and broadcasted on our social media platforms. So if you're here, just know that it is broadcasted on live on our social media platforms. On YouTube, it is icon/PSJ Media. On Facebook, it is Icon Help. On Twitter, it is Icon Help 1. On Instagram, it is the same, Icon Help 1. So I just want everyone to know. And on that, NSA, now I yield the mic to you to ask your question or make your contributions. Thank you.
Yeah, I think Bishop already answered my question, the question I came here to ask, and which I'm very happy about when he said the Almajiri, as in because if the government failed, I think the religious leaders are not supposed to fail the poor, as in the vulnerable people among us. So I think as in the bishop already touched on that, and I really want to thank him for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
So yeah, please. Yeah.
Okay. So should we go on to a Susayo?
No, before that, please, I want to make a little contribution on the issue of Almajiri, because I am from the system. You know, if you see Almajiri, the word even is not English word, it's not Yoruba, it's Hausa, but really, originally the word is Arabic, Al-Muhajir, a person who migrates.
Sorry, wait.
From one place to another. But why I want to contribute here to deal with the system of Al-Majri, we have to agree that it is a social problem and it has to be looked like that. What I mean by this is Bishop was right. If the government failed to look at the Al-Majri, we, the society, must do that. Therefore, if we want to deal with the system of Al-Majri, I think there must be a collaboration between the faiths, because originally Al-Majri is ours, but it affects you as person or as society, as church. You need to, we need to do something about that by putting pressure to the government to do something. I want to commend Jonathan, good luck Ebele Jonathan, for what he did for Al-Majri. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Sheikh, for that clarity. We appreciate you. Esusoya, sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name right. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Thank you very much for giving me the space. And I normally I don't want to come up because I'm at work, but I just wanted to quickly correct a notion that was made by Sheikh. Yes, Nigeria practiced the same presidential system like the America, but America is a federated country. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, all the states in America are kind of independent on their own, controlling their resources and mining their business, you know. And at the same time, for instance, the oil in Texas belongs to the Texans and is controlled by the governor of Texas, just the way you can have the oil in Delta owned by people from Delta State and controlled by the governor of Delta State. Just the way you can have the gold in Zamfara controlled by the governor of Zamfara and used for the betterment of the Zamfara people. Just the way we can have the gold in Kano or whatever we have in Kano or Kaduna be used to build the economy. What I'm just saying is that the states in America, they look at their comparative advantages, just the way the state in Nigeria can do that. Look at their comparative advantages and build their economy around those comparative advantages. I believe that is the way, that is what you were trying to, but I just want to say that the system in America is quite different. The presidential system in Nigeria is a fraudulent one. The ones that take resources from one part of the country and distribute it. No, the one in America, the states, the oil in Texas is not being used to fund economy in states like Nevada or Oklahoma or New Mexico. Because, for instance, Nevada, there is a city called Las Vegas. Nevada built their economy around casino, club, and the likes. And if anybody want to party hard, you go to Nevada because it's more like 24 hours party there. And that is how city like that makes their money. So you need to look at your comparative advantage as a state in America, then you build your economy around that comparative advantage. The way the state in Nigeria, Ondo State, for instance, can build the economy around cocoa and the bitumen in the country. This is what part of what the people of Nigeria have been clamoring for. Resource control, restructuring, allow Nigeria state to be Nigeria to be federated, allow the local government to be on their own, and use the resources within the local government for the for the people within that locality.
Soya, please, can you wrap up? Thank you so much. We appreciate what you're saying. We really do. But can you wrap up?
Okay, so I wanted to also ask, Sheikh, that will you support a system that I have described in Nigeria? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that wonderful question. I want to appreciate you and also make it clear to you that the difference is not in the system, but in the laws. Resource control is a problem in Nigeria because of our laws. We have to sit down and look at the laws. And to me, the problem is because we don't want to be proactive, we don't want to be productive. Why I say that is, if you give me Kano State, for example, if I'm a proactive governor and productive governor and competent governor, I can make it reach to live with, even without the support of the federal government. And that is what is happening in America. Lagos did it. I don't want to say there is difference or not or why, but Lagos can live without the support of the federal government. I mean, financial support. Now, why can't Kaduna do it, or why can't Kano do it? If we change the laws and make our states powerful, people are afraid of that. I know that. But I don't want to go into that politics, but I will support anything that will make Nigeria a very good country. And one of the things that will make Nigeria a good country is when the states can live without federal government grant. And that will deal with our issue of resource control. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I so much appreciate the intervention by Mohammed Khalid, Sheikh, our Sheikh here. He enlightened, he opened my mind to something. He says it is not the system, meaning it is not the use of federal system. It is the law that we have created in the federal system. He is talking about perhaps the Petroleum Use Act. It is because, I mean, at the end of it, federal system is federal system. But when you breach federal systems with laws that are opposed to the federal system, naturally, you then you have destroyed the system. So I think that I get the conception which our Sheikh had used to posture the system. And not only that, he went on to talk about productivity, that the federal system ought to be built on laws that create productivity and competitiveness. And I think that that's the context that harmonizes my brother Soya's position with Mohammed Khalid's position. Mohammed Khalid, our Sheikh, is not against federal system. He is saying we need to engage in laws that support the federal system and behavior that support the federal system rather than behavior that disrupt the federal system and create conflicts and allow some particular person dominate the sphere and manipulate with religion, with dogmatism that is now taking our attention rather than us focusing on building the system and engaging the systems. We are now all fighting one against the other, Christians against Muslims, because they've dogmatized us. They are not telling us that the idea is about goodness, the idea is about peace, the idea is about respect. They're just making us fight ourselves rather than focus on the things. And I think that that is what the spirit of this house that we're holding under the genocide room that ICON is holding. And thank you very much for the interventions of a few.
Can I say something? MK, sorry.
Please, Soya, I'm sorry to cut you short. I apologize. I hope that we'll have time to deal with the angle that you're taking us in. But I have to jump in here too, MK, Because with all this talk that we're talking, there's one underlying thing that is affecting all of us, and that's the insecurity that a lot of issues or a lot of angles are used as tools for reach, like the ethnicity, the religion, and all what have you. From there, people have used it to cause a lot of insecurity, and today it is beyond us. So on that note, I want to just take us to something that happened a few days ago, I would say 15th of November. That was last week, Thursday, that the US government took Nigeria out of the list of countries of particular concern on their list. And we're wondering, so I want to pose this question to first Archbishop Kwashi and then to the Sheikh. Not to say it's a question because I'm wondering if anybody can really answer, but if the United States are supposed to be dogmatic about checkmating the country, the different countries that we have on the issues of religious freedom, which ICON stands for, and the rest, how come with all the atrocities happening in Nigeria today, I would say getting worse, because from Boko Haram, we have the Fulani militias and we have the bandits, and they actually say that Boko Haram is an entity of particular concern. But yet, they have removed Nigeria under the list of countries of particular concern. What is the way forward? What can we do for the world to really pay attention to us or within us in Nigeria? Is there a way out of this insecurity dilemma? Archbishop Kwashi.
Yeah, sure. First of all, let's give sovereign states, sovereign nations their rights to do whatever they like, so long as their rights are not creating problems for another nation that will cause war. This particular position which America has taken, they are simply words. Whatever they mean, they have said it. But they have completely ignored the number of bombings in mosques early in the mornings throughout Nigeria. They have completely ignored the number of the destruction of churches, the kidnapping of worshippers from their churches, and the killings and the bombings of churches. They have forgotten or have chosen to forget that the people, a majority of those who are now in IDP camps are there on account of religion. In the Northeast, these are people who have rejected Boko Haram, and Boko Haram is chasing them away. In some other Christian areas, it's the same story in Southern Kaduna and Central region. The other day, some Muslims were massacred here in Jos. And the other day, some Christians were also massacred in their churches. So what America is trying to say is that it doesn't know any of these things, and that's their understanding. We must give them that opportunity. But honestly, they are wrong. If they're not going to stand for the liberties of democracy, which they introduced and African nations are taking, because these liberties are fundamental to every single human being, whether you are a Christian or a Muslim. You deserve the right to be able to speak and practice your religion and to make sure that you live in accordance with the laws of your land in freedom without anybody gagging you. But the American government now says that to us in Nigeria means nothing to them. That's fine, because that's their decision. But would we allow them to dictate to us? Since they've said that is the case, we must hold our governments accountable. Why would Islamic school children, 200 or more, be taken into captivity and the government is just helpless until people pay ransom? Why will government be watching our poor people? They pay ransom on a daily basis in millions as taxes, whether they be Christian or Muslims in the rural areas. Why will our government be quiet? And yet these people under freedom will still have to pay government tax. What kind of governments do we have? If our governments recognize their sovereignty and that they deserve the respect we give them and they are worth any salt to be called leaders, They should begin to find means and ways in which they can solve the problems of the common people in Nigeria, because the majority of those who are suffering are the poor people. The heartlessness with which they go to bed and allow all of these kind of things happen troubles me by the day, by each day. But here is my even bigger problem. The little children, 2-3-year-olds, who are seeing this evil continue. They're going to grow in this evil. And you think when they're 18, this evil will stop? I don't want to mention the names of any nations, but any responsible government that has its head on its neck should begin to think of the future of children, because when they grow with hatred, when they grow with bitterness, when they grow with this kind of sense that there is no justice in the land, you think when they are 18, 20 years old, they will give anybody justice? They will not be bitter? They will not be full of hatred? What this government is sowing without their knowing is they're sowing evil for their children in the future, because these people's children who are suffering are going to be the ones who will outlive us, and they will have to deal with them in the future. I pray to God that our government in Nigeria and succeeding governments in 2023 will think deep, and some courageous leader will turn the hand of the clock backwards against evil and begin to sow the seed of love, of justice, of truthfulness, and care and concern for the poor, for the people of this nation. By the way, the poor are the majority in Nigeria. So if you don't give them justice now, their children will grow up and they will demand justice for themselves. And it's not going to be funny. As a matter of fact, if you look at the Fulani kidnappers, most of them that were arraigned, you'll hear this one: I'm 22, I'm 25, I'm 35. Why do you think they do that? Something must have pricked them in their hearts, and they consider that justice has not been served, and so they take the law into their hands. May I conclude by saying, when governments refuse to stand on justice and to institute law for everybody, regardless of ethnicity or religion, little by little, even good people become bad.
Yes.
Okay. Bishop, sorry for I'm not good in mentioning the title very well. Archbishop or Bishop, you spoke
No,
very
don't
well.
worry, it's all the same.
Thank you very much. But I want to make it clear to all of us that I don't think Americans are referring to justice or injustice. But what they are referring to is the improvement that we have as Nigerians, as people, in religious tolerance. Before, the level of religious intolerance was higher than today. That is what they are referring to, in as much as my knowledge is concerned about that. And I want to categorically say, no one is supporting what is happening in Nigeria today. We are against, especially the inability and the incapacity of the government in containing these atrocities. Children are living in psychological trauma because of what is happening. IDPs are increasing day in, day out. The terrorists are even now powerful to challenge the government or to tax its people, to challenge the sovereignty of Nigeria and tax the people of Nigeria. It is happening in Sokoto, in Zamfara, and other places. So we are not supporting what the government is doing about. We are saying they must do something more, because it is their duty. They must wake up to their duty. But when it comes to our attitudes as people of Nigeria towards religious tolerance, we have to appreciate that, yes, there is little improvement. Maybe that is what America is telling us, that the rate of the intolerance is becoming low. That is why they removed Nigeria. I'm not supporting them or against them in any way, but I'm saying this is my understanding about what they did. But how can we maintain the status quo? I mean, that position America took is a merit to us, even if we are not worthy of having that merit. But how can we have it? That is what we are supposed to be concerned about. How can we become more tolerant to ourselves or with ourselves as individuals, as societies, as communities, and as at the level of the government itself. So I think we have to improve it so that even though if we are not worthy of becoming one of the best people that have a high level of religious tolerance, we will go there. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Sheikh. But as the two of you are talking, the question is how? Like Archbishop Kwashi said, we need to hold our government responsible to what is going on. Because, yes, whether they did it for justice or injustice, there's something going on in our country and it is eating us up and it will soon be consumed. How can we hold our government accountable is the how. Before I go on, sorry, I will step in. Aliwu Lawal, I know your hands are raised, but we cannot bring you up, and I don't know why. Could you just leave the room and come back in? That would help. Please just leave the room, but then come back in, please. We need you in so you can ask your question or make your contribution. Again, this is an icon room. Everyone coming in, just stepping in. This is an icon room. Icon is International Committee on Nigeria. And honestly, we are about advocacy, the right to live, the right to religious freedom, and the protection of the vulnerables against all forms of persecution in Nigeria. Today, we have Archbishop Benjamin Kwashi and Sheikh Mohammed Nuru Khalid engaging us on ethnicity and religion as drivers of insecurity in Nigeria. I would allow Archbishop Kwashi to just make his last comments. We've gone over 1 hour, I know, and he has to leave for his next meeting. So we appreciate you very much. But if you can just touch a little bit on the how when it comes to working groups and how we can challenge the government and hold them accountable to the atrocities going on in the country before you leave, sir.
Oh, certainly, I will address that, and I must thank Alhaji Sheikh Nura Khalid for being on this program with me, because I think he, myself, and a host of many others should speak some more.
Thank you very much.
Because a lot of these politicians, people who go into leadership, they come to our churches, they come to our mosques. We must begin by holding them privately accountable. And when they fail, we can hold them publicly accountable. That will be a step number one. Step number two is that we should take responsibility in our various communities in small ways. For example, when Wilberforce began to fight the slave trade, he didn't go to the marketplace. He began small by small. He began by practice in his own house and so on. And I will urge as many of you in Icon and in mosques and in churches, as many who are moved in their hearts that are looking for justice, that's the way to go. You begin little by little and by disagreeing. But the third one is that most young people now who are crying the most are unwilling to engage in politics of the land. The doors are open. Most young people, I cannot go into politics, but I'm urging most young people who are intelligent, who want to do good, must engage in politics at ward level. But don't go straight, you want to go to Abuja. Begin at ward level and begin to raise your voice and begin to argue about justice for all people. I think these are the 3 steps I will leave behind as how, if we're going to solve this problem. It's a long journey. It may not happen in my lifetime, but perhaps it might. Who knows? Because we don't know how many people are listening to all of this program, and some are geared up for 2023, and they would come up, one good man here, one good man there. Before you know it, in Nigeria, in 20, 30 years, some good men have arisen, and Nigeria will change so wonderfully that people who want to run from other countries to come and be with us. This is a possibility if only we agree to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me just raise the behind the scene when myself and Yop were discussing. We had thought of proposing even more basic ways of taking baby steps, and perhaps it's a way of putting it out here, and say between the Sheikh and the Bishop, who are models of ability to sit across the table and look at the greater good from the greater good of their faith and their religion, to sort of inspire us to the point where we can practically look at even making press statements, joint press statements, based on our understanding of the issues, maybe facilitated by ICON, joint press statements, and from joint press statements begin to issue, for instance, I mean, as basic as what Bishop Kwashi has just recommended, could be something that we can deal with and begin to say, okay, joint press statements and say all Christians and all Muslims, or even the more practical case of even action and say, look, we are funding the first school. Let us raise a fund, do a fundraiser, and based on that fundraiser, set up a school that is going to be based on the model that educates us, educates us in a way that serves the greater good of humanity and removes the idea of religion. That could be a press statement we make, and we can take it to action by pushing up a project. It can also be policy articulation documents and say, look, the idea of laws like Sheikh has just mentioned, and the constitution that will re-emphasize the system that would allow the respect and dignity of people probably needs to be sort of looked into. And those are little statements, little policy positions, little actions that we can mobilize Nigeria between the Sheikh and the Bishop and ICON, facilitating such things. And I think that as we continue to sort of hold this conversation.
Excuse me, please. Sorry for interruption.
Yes,
I have to go now. But to me, the only way or how to make this thing possible, how to hold the government responsible, is by advocating to the people to understand why are politicians there. Why will I vote for this A or B? That is the only way. If we are educated and know why we are voting them, things will be better. Thank you very much. I'm sorry I have to leave now.
No problem, sir. We understand you have to go and pray. And so everyone, we say sorry about that. You can leave, sir. We appreciate you and we thank you very much for giving us time and space, yes, to engage with us. Also to Archbishop Benjamin Kwashi, thank you so much, sir. I know that you have to run along too because you are busy. These two people are very busy people. We appreciate you, both of you, for taking out time to engage us in this important discussion because it's the way forward for Nigeria and our current situation. So thank you so much, sirs. Have a great evening and we'll talk to you soon. Say Anjima. Yes.
Yo, when I go there, say Anjima.
Okay, people. So this is it.
Let's allow Aliu. Aliu just came up. Let's see what he has to say.
All right. Salaam alaikum.
Okay,
I think, I'm just up here to ask Sheikh, and I think he is going. But if Sheikh is still here with us, maybe I would like to say thank you very much, sir. We are honored to have you here. Akramakallah, kayfa halin, kayfa umur, kayfa durus, kayfa talab. My question are like this, if you are still here. If not, I think the audience can answer. We've been here for quite long on this platform as Northerners, and our Southern brothers keep asking, why are the Northern ulamas and Sheikh silent about some of the atrocities going on in the North? They keep asking us about questions that during the tenure of Jonathan, a lot of noise, a lot of complaint, a lot of complaint about that government is going on. And as a Northerner, even now in this particular Buhari's funeral, I know there are little protests and a lot of ulamas are talking, but our Southern brothers are not seeing that track. So I will, okay, he's gone. How I wish he's here, he could have answered that, because he's from the core elite circle of our sheikhs in the north. So he could have provided that answer about the participation and political question regarding that. I will just stay here. I hope I'm contribute. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, Aliu. You can hold your question. I'm sure we'll engage him again next time and you can ask him that. But thank you for sharing that question.
Yes, inshallah. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, people, thank you so much for staying on to engage. Some people came in and left, but this has been a very interesting and educative engagement that we've had here. The key thing is not just to swallow it and keep it to yourself, but as a Nigerian, whether in the diaspora or at home, what are you going to do? What is the way forward? Looking inwards for us to move Nigeria to where it's supposed to be. Archbishop Kwashi laid out some tools for us. The Sheikh also did. You've taken it in. What are you going to do with it? Again, we want to say thank you, everyone. Okay, we say thank you, everyone, for joining in. But I will have a question. I have a question. And before I go ahead with my question, I have my boss here. Stephen is here, and I will just bring you up, sir, to say something. I just invited you up. Please come up. Thank you so much, sir. So I'll give you room. Please, people, don't go. Just stay on. This is going to be very engaging and interesting. Sir, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Van. Thank you, MK, and thank you all of you for moderating this. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I would like to thank you all for making this possible and engaging Khalid, Sheikh Khalid, and Archbishop Benjamin Kwashi. Now, this is, I think, is it MK who talked about the issue of the way forward or something, taking a baby step. Now, this is my proposal, and my proposal aligns with what global community is thinking when it comes to Nigeria egregious atrocities. Now, since we have the president of Benjamin Kwashi and Sheikh Khalid coming together to discuss, one, there should be a press statement from this that this is the stand, we can draft it and share it so that we'll place it on papers and on some news worthy items and all other platforms that Sheikh Khalid and Benjamin Kwashi for Nigeria to go forward. This is ABCD. We can actually write it and send them to them so that it will put the context in his proper position. Now, the other thing that we should begin to ask is also to make sure, because of what is happening in Nigeria being removed from a country of particular concern is really a misstep that U.S. government has taken, and we are working to make sure that should be redesignated. And a lot of institutions are coming together to advise U.S. government to redesignate, because what that means is that you are going to have many onslaught of hostility as a result of Fulani militant Boko Haram, and also Nigeria government hiding under the fact that it's no longer seen as a country where social hostility takes place. So we are working hard on that. But the other aspect, which is going to be what you'll be hearing next, is that in every government, especially when we talk about United States, we are not saying United States is superior to Nigeria in a way, but they uphold the democratic ethos, and we try as much as possible to see how we can leverage on that influence with other allies to make sure Nigeria does what is right. So that should be known, or that should be understood by all of us. That said, what will address the issue of hostility against the southeastern youth who are agitating? What will resolve the issue of other people who are displaced? Boko Haram, Fulani militant, Nigeria government, even the NSAS. Now we are making proposal that US, UN, and UK, which we are pushing hard, that there should be commission of inquiry, and this is what we're referring to as mini referendum, to sit down, not at the request of Nigeria government, but at the request of all of us, sit down and bring these people together, one, to unmask the masquerades between all of these killings and how government in Nigeria has done something right or wrong, and then all other parties will come and discuss. That is going to be where Biden administration will buy into. So these are things, these are steps we need to take. When we take this step, all other questions we are asking about true federalism, which is important, constitutional amendment, which is important, perpetrators being brought to justice, which is important, the issue of arms flowing, which is important, the narcotic drugs that is enhancing these guys to go on a killing spree, which is important, then the enslavement of girls as a result of abduction and kidnapping, which is important. All of these will be placed at the table when there is international commission of inquiry. It has happened in Kosovo, it has happened in many other countries, and it can happen in Nigeria. So this is a time we need to begin to think together how we will actually take leadership on this and how we can bring the attention of the entire world to be focused on Nigeria. And that is what I want to say. But that said, this is the baby step. The baby step must come with action. We can come together another time to discuss this. But that said, I would like to say thank you and God bless.
Thank you so much, Stephen. We appreciate you. MK, I wanted to jump in because I know we're running out. We've said 1 hour, 30 minutes. A lot to discuss, but there's always time. So for next week, we're going to come together to look at action plans, right? To look at working groups. What can we, from what Stephen have just said now, I think next week would be a good room for us to come together again. So we'll schedule a room, look out for it under this Genocide and Rights Abuse Club. If you are not part of the group, if you're not part of the club, please click on the green button above MK's head, I think, and you would just be part of it and you become a member. And on anything that we're doing here, you would get a notification. So next week, we're going to engage more on this, the way forward, the house. So we're not just about the talks and the theories, but we're about practicals and actions for the way forward. Again, I want to say thank you to everyone who showed up here, the ones that came in and left, the ones who stayed back. Thank you so much. This room has been on record and we've been broadcasting it on all our social media platforms. But to know more about what we do and how we engage to advocate for Nigeria, I encourage you to go to our website, iconhelp.org, or go to our social media platforms, Icon Help on Facebook, Icon Help One on Twitter and Instagram. A lot of resources. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel or take a look before you even subscribe. Icon/PSJ Media. There are so many videos that we have there. Testimonies from victims who have experienced these atrocities. And then we have documentaries from people who have come in, non-Nigerians who have come into Nigeria to see what's happening and have also documented on a lot of resources there. And then you can know where we're going. I know a lot of you know so much of what is going on in Nigeria. Again, together we can make this thing possible and we can make it work. So I appreciate everyone. Ene, you've always showed up. Thank you so much. Mrs. Tosin, thank you so much for showing up. Stephen, thank you so much for the support. And Icon, of course, my team, we appreciate you. MK, what can I say to you? I'll just give you room to say your last words before I cap us all in.
Well, I just wanted to endorse what Stephen had said, the idea of baby steps. While it is important that we have discourses on it here, there should be some sort of synthesis of that type of the ideas. Thank God we are recording them. We have them on YouTube, we have them on Facebook, we have them on IG and Twitter, and of course I'm recording it here on Instagram. On a Clubhouse. It's important we take these ideas, synthesize them, see where Icon is going, see where it can partner with all the other groups that are emerging on the genocide group, and then of course Bishop and all others, so that when we come to discuss these issues, we have a thoroughly synthesized framework around which real actions, baby step actions. Like you said, we could just decide to say, let's do a monthly press release to start with. From monthly press release, we'll build the capacity to do it bi-weekly and weekly. And then, of course, it can change to policy papers. From that point, we are issuing policy papers to institutions around what we are discovering and what the people are saying. And from there, we can just begin to take it to the level of action. So I think these are the type of more concrete, practical action. Set up a model school that reflects what we are doing, call for the investigations and prosecution of people who are messing up. So one step after the other, we could just begin by just a mere press statement, and things will begin to take shape. And people who are focused, people who are consistent, people who are not distracted, usually build up. But people who Rolling Stones that gather no moss, they are everywhere, doing nothing, talking about everything, but not doing even one small thing, would never make anything. It is better to allow a drop of water drop until it fills a bucket than to dream about water, how water can be moved when they are there in big volumes, and then you're not moving any tool to make them come into accretion somewhere where they can be useful. Thank you. That's a comment I thought I should make to support Stephen and there.
Thank you so much, MK. Thank you so much. You are so right. So again, I want to say thank you to everyone that showed up. We appreciate you. If you want to watch the replay, the replay was on. The replay button was on, so you can check. You can click on my profile and scroll down, or on MK's and scroll down, or on NS and scroll down, and you would see the replay. And again, if you want to watch it outside of Clubhouse, you can find it on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, icon/PSJ Media, and on our social media platforms. Facebook, it is Icon Help. Twitter, it is Icon Help 1, and on Instagram too, Icon Help 1. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope that we'll see all of you here and a lot more of you next week. We appreciate our audience who are not on Clubhouse. I didn't say hi to you today, so I say hello. I hope you're having a good time. Wishing you a wonderful evening. Enjoy the rest of your day from wherever you are in the world. Is it morning? Is it afternoon? Keep enjoying the rest of your day. We will see you all next time. So I'm going to close the room, and I'm counting up in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See you all next time. Bye-bye.